If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Peer2Peer. My name is Jay, and today's guest we have Danny. Danny, how are you doing?
Oh, Jay, I am doing fan-fucking-tastic. As a matter of fact, every morning I wake up now, the sound of silence starts playing, and not just in my head.
You don't say. Oh, God. We are off to a great start. All right,
Hey,
so,
guys.
yeah, hi. So, Danny, tell me, what is your journey with mental health have been like?
Oof. Jay, where do I begin? It all started when I was a little boy, and I saw my parents fucking. No, I'm kidding. Can I joke? Can I joke here? Can I joke here?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can. Sorry, I just had the visual I had in my head. I had to pause for a moment.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Just a heads up. Whenever I talk about mental health, specifically my mental health, I have to joke about it. I have to
Hey,
because that's how I cope with
it's
it.
a-okay. Like, I've had several people on this podcast, like, we've joked about, like, crap we've been through, so come to the right place.
Right. So I've always kind of suffered with anger issues as a kid. I was always an angry little fuck, just mad at everybody, not wanting to talk to anybody. I wasn't violent per se, but I just was frustrated with everybody because I was always alone as a kid. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I always felt like my mom would give more attention to the little ones, and in school I got picked on a lot. And I was a fat little fucker. I'm still a fat fucker, but I'm not like a chubby little like rolling oompa loompa little fuck that I used to be.
You're not Eric Hartman, so you're good.
Respect my authority. That was a horrible impression. But nobody really liked me as a kid, so that really affected me a lot. And right around like high school, or starting high school, or before high school, I wanted to play football because my brother played sports. He played soccer as a kid, and I'd see my dad getting cheering for him and getting excited and shit like that, and I wanted to feel that. Daddy issues. Yeah. It isn't just the white college. It isn't just the white college girls that'll sleep with you. It's usually sometimes the sad boys who want to play football. So I asked him to train me to play football, and it was good. We bonded from that. I trained to run, I trained to hit, I trained to just better myself when it came to cardio, and I played for Birmingham High School for 2 years on JV. I never made to varsity. you know. But I played for 2 years. The first year of football was great. Some of the best, the only good year of high school that I really had because I felt like I was accomplishing things, and hearing my dad kind of cheer me on from the bleachers, that was a good feeling. But around the second year, I kind of start to question it a bit. Like I was kind of like, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to play football? Is this really what I want to do right now? But because I didn't want to let my dad down, because it's my dad and daddy issues. Yeah. I kind of stuck with it, and my sophomore year, I had an experience with death, right? Specifically, it was losing a member of the team, right?
Right.
And he was chill with me. He was always good with like the JV players. He would always he would always like kind of like cheer me on and shit. His name was Alex Manu. He was this big fucking varsity player. He just graduated too, which makes it all the more worse. And he was like this big like Hawaiian fellow, right? Not Hawaiian. Fuck, I don't know what the proper term is called. But he was a big dude, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if going up against him was like my biggest fear in football, and because they made JV linemen practice with varsity linemen, ha ha, I was on my ass within a second every time. He was like, "You good, Madrigal?" I'm like, "No, I need I need a minute. I need a minute to myself. Thank you." That was Alex Manu, but but he tragically he passed away. Holy shit! Sorry, I just saw something.
Oh no, you're good.
He was in a car accident, really fatal car accident, and it took him, right. And that was kind of like my first like experience with death, So it kind of like it was kind of an eye opener for me, if that makes sense. Like, holy shit, this guy is straight out of high school and he's gone. He's fucking gone. How does that happen,
Yeah, that's that for me. That's really relatable because one of my best friends actually, he turned 18 and he just got his Eagle Scout badge and all that, and he had plans with me to be my roommate and stuff. Because I graduated a year before him. But yeah, he just turned 18 in March, and then he was going to go on a camping trip, and he got into a serious car accident with a couple of other friends of ours, and yeah, he passed away. And I remember that sent me on a spiral, thinking about life, death, the impermanence of everything.
What is the meaning of life?
Oh my God.
Yeah. And what made it worse was that like after that experience, after like, I told myself, okay, you know what, man, just 4 years, you can get through this, it's like it's football, right? It's just football, you're doing this, you have your experience, you have your little club, you have your little tribe, right?
Right.
And two events happened. One is we got a house in Palmdale, but Birmingham is in Van Nuys, California, which is like, in the valley, the San Fernando Valley by like Los Angeles, right?
Yeah.
And so it was always like more than an hour of a drive. So because I was playing football and because I had to train out late, I had to stay with my grandmother. And my grandmother is a bitch. Okay. I respect your elders and all that, but this woman was horrible. She's still alive, by the
way. She thrives on your suffering.
It's funny because like she got COVID, survived. She got the vaccine, survived. I'm like, is that scene in George Lopez where like the earthquake happens and like the plates keep falling, right? And George Lopez is like, "Come on, God, stop teasing me! Drop the fish on her, or something. Take her out." That's me right now with my grandma. I'm like, "Hey, God, hey, are you listening? Are you listening? What the fuck?"
It's funny, like your grandma, she's like withstanding everything, and my grandma, it's like right before COVID, like they state shut down up here in Oregon. Mm-hmm. It's like she took one look at it, went, "Well, time to go," and just died.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
That's all good. I just think the contrast is so funny.
Oh my God, fuck.
I swear, this is a serious mental health podcast.
I swear to God, this is serious. I swear to Lord Jesus, this is serious. But now, yeah, she would always like kind of bring me down. She would always like call me, lazy and shit, even though I was out late during practice and doing school shit. My grades are falling, and that also didn't help that my own teammates kind of, checks notes, stabbed me in the fucking back. So trust issues, yay. We had a game, right? We had a game, and I was the starting right tackle, right? I was supposed to play throughout the whole game, and I was gonna have like some friends watch me play. They never showed up. My friends never showed up to watch me play football.
Some friends,
right? and I was a starting right tackle. And then like halfway through the game, they're like, "Hey man, coach, I'm not gonna name names, but coach such and such, right? He said that he wants Home Depot to play. And yes, I shit you not, we had a teammate, we called him Home Depot because he was like he looked like the type of Mexican that be at Home Depot. He had the mustache and everything and the dark skin too. He looked like the type of worker that be in like the fucking strawberry fields picking strawberries and shit.
Oh,
That's I know. Or we called him Home Depot because of that. We did
that
not
poor
give a fuck.
dude.
Oh no, he embraced it. He embraced it.
I hope wherever he's at, he's living his best life.
He probably is. He probably is. Listen, man, if there's anything you need to know about Mexicans, specifically Mexican men, it's hard to offend us. It's really hard to offend us. You could fucking call us like wetbacks or shit, or illegals, or like hoppers because we jumped the border, and we just laugh at it. Trust me, it's okay. It's okay. I'm pretty sure there's a good chunk of Mexicans that actually voted for Trump just to piss people off. We're weird people, man. So halfway through the game, they said like Avila wants this out, right? So then after the game ends, right, and the varsity coach, no, not the varsity coach, the JV coach, the coach that they were saying he comes to me, was like, hey, why did you stop playing? Why didn't you go in? And I told him like, oh, they told me that you wanted Home Depot win, right? And listen to me, then I was like, I never said that. Not once did I ever say that. I said like I wanted you playing throughout the entire game. And I sat there in like complete fucking shocking disbelief, like they fucking lied to me. My teammates, my brothers in arms, as you would say, they fucking lied to me. And then like the varsity coach, lineman coach comes and is like, hey man, what happened? It's like, oh, they said that they wanted Home Depot. They're like, why the fuck would they say that? Are you kidding me? Home Depot's a shitty player. What the fuck?
Damn.
So then after a while, like it all starts to build up, and as we're driving to school, I had like a mental breakdown in front of the parking lot, so I had to go home. And then the next day, as I'm driving to school, had a fucking panic attack in the middle of the car, in the middle of the drive to school. So that was my first experience with anxiety, and after that, we decided that like it's time for me to leave that school and to put football behind. Yeah.
Yeah, so it sounds like you got, like I said, I don't say the sport lightly because I know people make fun of it, but you did get kind of triggered from the betrayal, right?
Oh yeah. Yep. Oh yeah. That definitely fucked me up. And from that day forward, like it was really hard for me to kind of trust people or to express myself. I mean, it was already hard for me to express myself, but like after that, it just made it 10 times worse.
Gotcha. So how did you learn to cope with that?
Fuck. How did I learn to cope with that? It took me a while for me to learn to cope with it. But a lot of it was through listening to a lot of like heavy metal music.
Yeah, that's a good start.
And then like watching a lot of like dark movies and shit. And it was around that time where like, I knew for sure that I wanted to be a filmmaker. I knew that at 10 I wanted to be a filmmaker, but like I kind of went through a phase where I wanted to join the military, which no. I played one too many Call of Duty games and you're automatically a soldier for some reason. If I could go back in time and smack little Daniel, I would. But
I think a lot of us would do that to our childhood selves.
Oh yeah, definitely. So around that time, like I think 2015, 2014, I started writing, right? I started writing scripts. And it wasn't like proper format scripts. It was like really shitty, get on like your local Word document to start typing dumb shit out, right? And I just started writing things, right? I wrote like this post-apocalyptic like zombie movie that was like a found footage type thing, right? Then I started writing like superhero stories, and there's this one character that I am still fascinated with and I'm still writing about to this day. He was originally called the Black Hood. Um, he was like kind of like this brutal like executioner style vigilante hero, and I wrote a little short screenplay with him, and then I wanted to write a series where he would meet up with a group of like other like small town vigilantes. But that was kind of how I expressed how I coped with my own like mental health things, was by heavy metal music, watching a lot of like really like R-rated dark movies, and just writing. That's how I kind of learned to cope with it for that time and place.
So do you still continue to write and pursue those kind of activities for your mental health?
Yeah. Recently, I started writing again because earlier this year, or like around like December, January, and February, I kind of like fell off the deep end to the point where how real do you want to get here?
Oh, you can get as real as you want on here, hon. I mean,
Cool.
yeah.
All right, so I was deeply suicidal.
Glad you got that out of your system.
I shit you not. I came this close to being like, oh, well, I'm just going to yeet myself out of existence. Just going to, cancel my subscription from life, just not worth it no more.
Yeah, it's like the 30-day trial offer's done. I'm done with it.
You've seen my Twitter post. You've seen my Twitter post. Oh my God, man. It's funny because we're doing a movie night, right? And I think it was like The Karate Kid.
Mm-hmm.
And we were on the Zoom call, right? And I turned off my camera, and I was like real like just done and just like sad as shit, you know. And I looked to my little like fucking rack of belts, and I was like, huh, which one of these can hold me up on my door?
Mm.
And
Hey, it's not dumb. I mean, from one person to another, within the last couple months, I know I was kind of in that dark place. I think a lot of it for me was due to having COVID and having it affect me. But yeah, you're definitely not alone on that, and I'm glad you're still here.
Yeah. I had, not to fucking rain on your parade with you, but I had gotten COVID too, and like on Christmas of all days.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's
like
the day of the Lord's birth. It's like, oh, you're sick.
Yeah, you got on Christmas and I got on New Year's.
So like just that isolation, and then like you get on the internet after a while, and you start to read all the like conspiracy theories and shit, and you're like, fuck, you know. And then I just was like, I was just frustrated with everything. It really just like, because last year I was supposed to have like all these opportunities and have like a start to my life and whatnot, and now it feels like I have to start over again because the world's ending.
That is really relatable.
Yeah, and I just kind of thought to myself like, well, like what's the point in living,
Mm.
It's it's funny because I shot out a tweet, I think last month, before like the things started kind of opening up again.
Mm.
I shot out a tweet that went, I'm real close to just putting the barrel of a shotgun in my mouth and just lighting it up, right? And you know who ends up fucking messaging me that same day?
Who?
Fucking Steph.
Oh, Steph?
Like, yeah, Steph. Like, Steph reached out to me. He's like, hey, man, you good? I'm like, no. No, I'm not. I'm not good. But yeah, it's the first like some months of like 2021 was really rough. I got to a point where, and anybody can judge me for this. I don't care anymore. I'm just gonna admit it because we're getting real here. Was I got to a point because I was having a conversation with my mom. I was driving her to work because we were clear of COVID. I was just like frustrated with everything because I graduated last year, but I didn't get a graduation. I just got a piece of paper.
That's always fun.
And I was just like having an argument with her about it. And she got COVID really bad, and I fucking looked it in the eye. It's like, fucking, I don't fucking care if little Timmy gets fucking COVID and dies. I just want this shit to be over. That's how frustrated I got with this situation, because I felt like my laugh was just about to start, and then next thing you know, nope, no, you thought, bitch. It's like it's funny because there's this girl that I really had feelings for. You know who I'm talking about, and how I describe what happened with that. It's like, oh, God put in front of me like not the perfect girl, because there's no such thing as perfect girl, but like someone that I really connect with. And then I turn around and he slaps me across the face and goes, "Nope, you thought, motherfucker. You thought, but nope." That's how I kind of felt with this situation. It's like, I'm going to graduate. I'm going to go to film festivals. I'm going to meet people. I'm going to start my career. Then God slaps me with this pandemic. He goes, "Nope." Yeah.
So, yeah, I take it the pandemic really, really kicked your mental health right in the ass, right?
It kicked me in the ass, in my testicles, in my throat, pulled my pants down, and shoved a dildo up my ass. That's basically what it did to me.
Well, you're definitely not alone. Like, again, already so far, your story I relate with a lot. Like before the pandemic, I had about $3,000 saved up. I thought, cool, I'm actually getting ahead. I can pay off my student debt. I can pay off my medical debt and maybe get a house or something. And now I got nothing. I'm back to square one. So I totally feel you.
Yeah, I was supposed to move out last year too, which sucks because it's like I'm 22 years old and I still live with mama. And legit, shit you not, I'm like considering the Navy. I'm like, well, I gotta do something.
So,
and I'll continue.
yeah, you go ahead.
I was just like, again, like I'm 22 years old. I don't really have anything going on for me other than like writing and shit. I'm not. There's no festivals right now. Nothing for my career, and it's like I don't have the connections that I need to get to where I need to be right now. So it's like, well, what choice do I have? And I don't want to live with my mom for the next 4 years because that's. I understand people still live with their parents past 30, but that's just embarrassing to me. I don't want to be that guy. My uncle lived with his mom for till he was 30, and now he's back there living with her again. So the circle of life, people.
Well, it's way more common than you think too. Like I know that we've been sold the idea that you have to be out on your own by the time you're 18 and fresh out of high school, but I mean, especially with the economy and everything this day and age, it's very difficult. I know I didn't get out of my parents' place until I was 25, 26, and a lot of that was because it was just hard saving money. And then when you live with like an alcoholic parent like I did that steals your money,
Oof.
it makes it, difficult to handle that. So I want to commend you for being 22 and still living with your folks, because I'm thinking just spend that time saving up as much as you can. That way when you do get out, it's going to be lit.
I'll just get my own place. Like, all right, time to call the prostitutes. Time to lose my virginity, guys.
So how are you, because you're going through so much right now, how are you coping? Like, how are you handling all of this, especially with, feeling suicidal recently and, just feeling down about like the circumstances in your life right now?
Right. So before the cinemas opened up again, I would go on drives. I drive to Lancaster Boulevard, where I live, and it's like this nice little the small little shop area where they have small restaurants and like independent shops and shit. It's very aesthetically pleasing little place up here. The only aesthetically pleasing place in Palmdale, because holy shit, it's a desert out here. It's just nothing but brown. Okay. So I would just go on walks there, and I'd listen to music or podcast or whatever to kind of like clear my head and get some fresh air and get some sunlight in on my skin. I usually go when there was like no people around, so I could breathe in the fresh air without having to put on a mask. But I'd make sure that no one was around me. You know, it was like, all right, who's near me? You're like, if someone was walking by me, it's like, well, gonna cover up my face, boys. Bravo 6 going in dark. But I just try to get some fresh air. You know, for months I didn't write, and I couldn't watch movies anymore because they just made me like really depressed. So I'd instead just play like a lot of video games instead. So I played an unholy amount of Halo at the beginning of the year. Played a lot of multiplayer. Played the campaigns. I finished all the campaigns last month and the Master Chief Collection. Then I played Halo 5 just to get ready for the new game that comes out later on this year.
Mm-hmm.
But I play a lot of Halo multiplayer. I still play a lot of Halo multiplayer. I would play Call of Duty Warzone with my friend. That friend, if you know who I'm talking about.
Yep.
Because we were talking again, and like it's fun. But I just try to get out of the house as much as I could. You know, for a while I didn't do the Zoom chats with everybody because like I'm a very like I'd like to meet people in person or talk to people in person instead of through like a fucking screen because being in this room all day sucks. So I would just try to get out and get some fresh air and just like kind of clear my head a bit. I would do that often too because like I would get really bad, and I'd even go at night as well because like sometimes being in this bedroom for too long, it's not healthy for you.
Yeah.
And trying to find a job that because barely anybody's hiring, and every time I send in like an application, I had little to no one like replies to me. I barely got a response from an application yesterday. And they asked me like what kind of car I drive, and I told them what car I drive, and they said, "Oh, we're looking for big cars," and they hung up.
Dang.
Yeah, I'm like, well, shit. But at that time, I just I just try to just keep myself distracted. I ended up unsubscribing from a lot of like channels that I watch, specifically the more conservative channels
Mm-hmm.
that I would watch, because after a while I kind of noticed that they would make their money based off of fear mongering, So like the Ben Shapiro's or the Steven Crowders or just like there's this YouTuber that I watch who's kind of like this Viking-ish YouTuber who would talk about like men's mental health, but throughout the pandemic he got a bit conspiratorial, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, kind of off the deep end.
He went off the deep end, and it kind of like fucked with me a little bit. Then I started doing research into a lot of things and whatnot, and I was like paranoid. I'm a very paranoid poison person. Fuck.
You're doing good.
I'm a very paranoid person, so like I'm always looking over my shoulder over everything. Yay. So then I stopped watching those channels. I ended up clearing my search history about a lot of things. And then I started doing my own research into things and started figuring out what the fuck these things actually are. And 9 times out of 10, they're usually not what they say it is, And things are kind of reported without any nuance. So like, the Fox News and like the Shapiro's of the world, whenever they talk about like Joe Biden doing some shit, and then you look into it, it's like, the fuck are you talking about? I remember there was this is what kind of broke me too. Not broke me, but kind of like made me just think, all right, I'm just gonna unsubscribe from these fools. Was Mr. Potato Head situation, right?
Oh, that thing.
So yeah, so many people were pissed. They're like, oh, they're making Potato Head gender neutral or whatnot. Like, oh, they're doing this, they're doing that. They canceled Mr. Potato Head. And if you do like a minute of research, you find out that it's just a rebranding. It is still selling Mr. Potato Head, but it's just under one brand called Potato Head. And I'm sitting here like, huh, maybe these people are actually kind of fucking stupid.
Yeah, don't you hate it when you get moments like that?
Yeah, it's just like, oh shit, what am I doing? And then that plus the Dr. Seuss thing was like, and listen, I'm against censorship in all shapes and forms, but fucking Twitter did not cancel Dr. Seuss, and fucking Joe Biden definitely did not cancel Dr. Seuss. That was the thing, because they're saying like Joe Biden canceled Dr. Seuss because he didn't read Dr. Seuss during like National Book Day, or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I remember that rumor was going around like all over the internet, and I'm going, what?
Yeah, and then you find out it's like, oh yeah, the estate, Dr. Seuss's estate took down like 6 books that depicted like some racist imagery, and then you look at what the books had, is like, oh shit. yeah. I've only read Dr. Seuss and Green Eggs and Ham, so I'm good. But so many people were up, and I was like, they're trying to cancel Dr. Seuss and then burn his books and shit. It's like, that's not what happened.
Yeah, it's amazing like how your mental health can be affected by things like that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and like I identify myself as a moderately conservative person. Like free speech, right to bear arms and shit like that. But there's a point that there's a line that I am not willing to cross. Okay, there's a line I'm like, all right, you people are stupid. Shut the fuck up. And then like the last like couple of months from like March till now, it's kind of like a de-radicalization process for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So there was like channels I kind of started subscribing to. There's one called Bo the Fifth Column that reported on the shit that Biden would do with a little more nuance. There's still criticism there, but there is more nuance to it. This streamer called Vosh, who he would roast these conservative YouTubers like Ben Shapiro and kind of like pick apart their shit. I'm like, huh, never thought about it this way. These people are fucking stupid. Jesus Christ. And then yeah, it's funny how like when you look at things from a different angle, you look at things with a little bit more nuance to it. You kind of like open your eyes and go, oh shit. You get what I mean?
Yeah. So when you took a step back from that, did you realize that your mental health started getting better? Did it get worse, or are you still kind of fluctuating with that?
It got better. It got better over time, but like, with everything still going on, it kind of fluctuates back and forth. Like there are days where, I dream big. I'm like, oh yeah, one day I'm gonna tell this story, or one day I'm gonna make this movie. But then I see what's going on. I'm like, shit, like what if I can't? What if I never get the chance to do it because of all this craziness, right? And then you have the whole like HBO Max situation where they're putting their movies on their streaming service plus in theaters. So that's, as a filmmaker, that's concerning, because I like seeing movies in the cinemas. That's
Yeah,
like
same here.
that's like I'm about to go straight up fucking blasphemy here, but fucking why not? That's like church for me. Like to me, if you're the type of person that texts or talks while you're in a movie, you're committing blasphemy in my eyes. Granted, I just spoke blasphemy just now, but fuck it. But it's a special place in where I go to, and seeing that a lot of theaters get closed down, like the ArcLight and the Dome, a literal childhood place that I would go to with my dad.
Yeah, that was heartbreaking, man.
Yeah, that really like affected me, because like my dad would take me to that theater a lot, and we saw so many movies there together. And not only that, but they showed so many like independent movies there. So there's a chance for independent filmmakers to have their movies seen in theaters in Hollywood, legit Hollywood. on Sunset Boulevard, and now that's just gone. And I'm hoping and praying that someone buys it. Everyone's saying that like Tarantino might end up buying it, and I hope he does. But I saw that, and I looked at like the streaming services like Netflix and Hulu and HBO Max and Disney Plus. And I was like, I don't want my movies to be shown on there on a fucking TV screen. I want them to be on the big screen, on the silver screen.
Yeah.
Because like we can go into like my issues with Hollywood some other time, because I have issues, you fucking creepy bastards. But I want to be a part of those legends, those filmmakers, those big filmmakers like Nolan, Tarantino, Scorsese, Carpenter, fucking Kubrick, all them people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be like famous, like, oh my god, my movies are like art and you're all stupid, but just to have my films be as recognized as those, like not like Dark Knight or Godfather levels of amazing, but just to be acknowledged,
Yeah, just to have your voice heard.
Just have my voice heard. And I feel like with like stuff like Netflix, yeah, the occasional great movie could come out, but it gets buried underneath all the other shit that they have on there.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, the only Netflix movie that I'm looking forward to is Army of the Dead by Zack Snyder. And
I heard about that.
I don't know about any other. And literally all the movies they keep releasing, it's like, I don't know what this is. I never heard of it. Doesn't look interesting to me. And I don't. Continue.
Oh, I was going to ask you, like, with you being a filmmaker, how do you feel about Hollywood and how they portray mental health?
Holy shit! Shoot. Hold on. Oh, okay. Let's go. Hold on. I'm gonna snort my fake cocaine real quick. Yeah. Where do I begin? I fucking hate it. There are some instances where they do good, but like majority of the time, it's so fucking romanticized, man. So fucking romanticized to the point to where these characters don't even have personalities other than their mental health problems. That sucks, I look at a show like 13 Reasons Why. I mean, I know that's television, but that's like Hollywood television to me, like Netflix and shit. And the first season is watchable, right? The first season is watchable, but from what my friends have told me who have read the book, it's completely inaccurate. In fact, in the book she actually survives, right? But in the show, it's so overly romanticized and dramatized. It's not just like mental health issues and suicide, but like drug abuse too. And that it kind of pisses me off because people see that and they think this is what it is, and it's this like aesthetically romanticized thing to have anxiety or depression or suicidal thoughts, especially the way they fucking frame it.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous, and that show has done more damage than good. Like fucking legit, after that show released, there were copycats of what the one of the main characters did on that show, and then to have them listen, we can have arguments about fucking what happened with Abby in The Last of Us, but I'd rather fucking sympathize with Abby than the fucking literal rapist that's on the fucking show. In season 3 of that show, they try to get you to feel bad for the rapist in the show.
Seriously?
I shit you not, yeah. Like there are legit episodes dedicated to showing how good of a person Bryce Walker is, or how good of a person this person is, right? There's a scene at the end of season 2 where this like football player, right? He takes the skinny nerd kid, puts him in the bathroom, and fucking shoves a broom up his ass, sodomizing him, right? And that causes the skinny kid to try to shoot up the school, right? and that too fucking shit. And it's in the next season, you know what they do? You know how they excuse that? You know how they make it seem like it's kind of okay? Turns out the football player who shoved the broomstick up the kid's ass, guess what? He's gay.
So wow.
Yeah.
I never watched it, but I did hear a lot of criticisms. I just had no idea it was that bad.
Oh, it's that bad. It's that bad. And then, like in like what fucking season 4, the lead character of the show starts having like severe like schizophrenic episodes, and nothing. They don't go anywhere with it. In fact, the football player, the guy he was seeing, his little boyfriend, is supposedly the villain of the last season. They don't go anywhere with him. In fact, they forget about him altogether, right?
Right.
And they try to make that character seem like romantic, or like, oh, he wasn't such a bad guy after all. He was just scared of coming out of the closet. I'm like, you know, the people that I've met who are scared of coming out of the closet, you know, they never acted like this.
So how would you like say if you were given the job to make a film about mental health, like what kind of direction would you take with it versus how most of Hollywood has been going about with it?
Cool. I'm about to turn into fucking tangents here, but have you seen Iron Man 3? You've seen Iron Man 3, right?
Yeah, I've seen all of them. Yeah.
In my opinion, other than like BoJack, that's probably the best depiction of what a panic disorder is, in my opinion, because it's not romanticized, it's not focused on. It's not what defines Tony Stark. You know, Tony Stark he's Iron Man, he's a fucking hero. But to see a hero like that have panic attacks, like that's my favorite Iron Man movie because of the way they depict mental health. Because it's very honest and it's not romanticized. It's an obstacle that Tony Stark has to overcome. So if I were to depict mental health, depends on what type of story I'm telling. So let's say I'm telling the story about suicidal or who's going through mental health issues. I would juggle tones a bit, right? I wouldn't make it like a quirky like comedy where it's like, oh, I'm so fucking crazy and shit like that. I would juggle the tones between lighthearted and seriousness to kind of like mash it together to kind of dig into why this person's feeling this way and how they can possibly overcome it, right? And I would try to portray it in the most honest way possible, but I wouldn't make the character be defined by their mental health. I would define the character by who they are and what they do. So say for example, like the character is a football player, right? Quarterback, popular kid in school. He fucking, you know, he wins all the games. He takes everyone to the playoffs. He's well regarded. You know, people love him. They're cheering his names. All the girls want to get with him, but he is suicidally depressed, and he has panic attacks often. And he doubts himself, and he has all these expectations on him, and everyone expects him to be the greatest person ever. They expect him to be the greatest football player ever. They expect him to fucking go toe to toe with the NFL and take out Tom Brady. You know.
Yeah.
I would try to portray that in the most honest light possible without romanticizing it, without making it so aesthetically pleasing. In fact, I'd make it more disturbing more than anything.
Do you think
to kind of show that, like, what was that?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, do you think the disturbing aspect would draw in more people and make them understand it, or do you feel like it's just more of a aesthetic that you go for?
I feel like it draw more people in because I go back to BoJack Horseman, and the episode The View from Halfway Down. That episode disturbs the crap out of me. But that was also the episode that got me to look at myself and go, I need to be a better person. I need to get out of this rut that I'm in, and so I don't end up like this, right? Sorry. I have a very tense back and neck.
You're good.
So if you see me moving around, I'm trying to get comfortable.
You're good.
And that show kind of just made me look at myself and go, I don't want to end up like this. What the fuck, I don't want to take my life one day. I don't want to just be sad all the time. I want to live. I want to fucking live my life and be happy. I want to go pursue my career. I want to go find love. I want to fuck. I'm trying to get my freak on. God damn it. I'm trying to go to concerts. I'm trying to do all these things. What the fuck? What the fuck am I thinking? I should want to do that, right? And that's kind of what I want to make the audience feel, to see this character not romanticize it, but just disturb them. You sure you want this aesthetic? You sure you want to fucking scream, I have this mental disorder? Because this is what it's like, man. This is what it's like. It might not be like this for everybody. It might be inaccurate to everybody, but to me, this is what it feels like, and it's not a fucking good feeling. In fact, it's a horrible feeling to feel this way. I see how Hollywood, and not just Hollywood, but social media depicts mental health. There's so many fucking videos that I've seen, not recently, because recently comedy and mental health go together like peanut butter and jelly. You're sad, but gotta laugh it off because fuck, that's how some people cope. But I remember in when 13 Reasons Why was coming out, and when people started talking about mental health, there were kids, teenagers, people my age who would post so much shit like that, as their cut wrists on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook or Tumblr, if you want to go far enough. And they would have their little quotes from different songs. So you have a quote from either Black Veil Brides or Beam of the Horizon or Pierce the Veil or whoever the fuck, right? Whatever band was popular at that time. And then they would have it would just be an aesthetic, right? It'd just be, to get attention. Maybe not to get attention, but I know people who did that for attention specifically. And it made people who did suffer from mental health, people like me or whoever, it made people think that, oh, so you cut your wrist and you listen to emo music and you complain to your mom about how she won't buy you your fucking Yu-Gi-Oh cards and shit, right? When that's not the case. And in fact, it's when it comes to depression, at least when I get depressed, I have this empty black hole in my chest that gets heavy. And I remember one day I was so depressed that I couldn't get out of bed. I legit felt like I had bricks on bricks on bricks on me that I couldn't move my body. And that's what it's like for me. And there's have you seen the show Sex Education?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay. One of my favorite characters in the show is the football player, right? The quarterback, the guy that hooks up with the Margot Robbie lookalike.
Yeah.
But he comes out and he says, I have anxiety, I have panic attacks, right? He's not just the jock character. He's someone with a personality. And that's the first time I ever saw a character who suffered from the same mental health that I did, that it wasn't the stereotype, and it wasn't what defined his character. And in fact, it was very subtle, and he wasn't the stereotype where fucking black hair, wore all black and shit, and would just say whatever artsy fartsy poetic quote came out of their asshole, right? He was honest about it. He pulled Maeve, that's the character's name, pulled Maeve aside and went, yeah, I have anxiety attacks all the time, and he was honest. It was just honest. No poems, no dark cinematography, no nothing. It was just him, just entirely him, honestly. And if we're going to depict mental health better in Hollywood or in TV shows, then we need to do it honestly without making it an aesthetic, without putting the next top 21 hits of April, God, I fucking hate 13 Reasons Why. I want to fucking find whoever made that show and just slap him across the face with a giant purple dildo.
Yeah, I don't.
From Saints Row 3.
Yeah, I don't. I don't blame you because I know that from a teacher standpoint, it was really tough. Like I remember there was a couple of teenagers in my care that really loved the show, and I didn't get, like I said, I didn't get the opportunity to really look at it. But just hearing that, and then I did read the book, and I still can't believe, like, wow, like this is heavily romanticizing a lot of these problems.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's amazing that it got approved of. To be honest with you.
I know, and fucking teenagers watch it too, and that's like. I remember after I watched season 1 of that show, I immediately just put on Daredevil immediately after because it was just gross to me, you know. And I've seen some fucked up movies. I have seen some fucked up movies. We can talk about fucked up movies, but this movie to me, this show was like, no, this ain't it. This ain't it.
Yeah, no kidding. So
and it just got worse.
yeah,
It got so much worse.
so
So continue.
besides for like what you would do, what's something you think that people in Hollywood or whatever could do better in regards to mental health?
Okay. So there's multiple types of mental health, right?
Right.
There's the depression and anxiety that's most popular. What about like, schizophrenia, dissociative identity disorder, other things, right? I think what needs to happen is that there needs to be better conversations with
Mm,
people and being more authentic. Like I love movies like, like Psycho and Split and all that, but there is an argument to be made that like people with schizophrenia or who have those disorders, they're made to look like deranged serial killer psychopaths, who belong in Arkham Asylum. Um, but I think that if someone in Hollywood if they were to try to portray mental health and they do it authentically, I think that it's best to just have conversations with people to get to know people.
right.
Um, and and to just not portray it the way it's typically portrayed. There's the thing that makes BoJack resonate with people a lot is that it is about BoJack's mental health, his self-hatred, his self-destructive nature, his binge drinking, his drug addictions and all that. The feeling to want to be important, to be famous, to have people notice you, right? And that's something a lot of people can relate to. You want people to notice you. You want people to love you. You want someone to love you. And what BoJack does is it shows how self-destructive BoJack is, and it shows his mental health, but it doesn't portray it again in that romanticized light. It's disturbing, but it's also honest. And I think that people in Hollywood need to start having honest conversations about mental health instead of stigmatizing someone's mental health condition or even like romanticizing someone else's mental health condition. Like again, like schizophrenia or dissociative identity disorder is stigmatized as like probably a serial killer, right? Probably like a serial killer personality in that brain of his. And then some with like depression or anxiety, they're like, oh my God, portray them as like this dark, fallen, emo angel and let's make an aesthetic out of it. And boom, we're getting rich off of this shit. Um, and the thing is that it does affect people's minds, especially teenagers, because whenever people like watch that shit or they read that shit, that's what they believe, that's what they think, and they're like, oh, I want them to notice me, I want my friends to notice me and to feel bad for when I'm gone that they didn't get to talk to me. And that's not the message we should be sharing. That's not the message we should be putting out there. We should put out there that like, hey man, you're going through this shit. Your friends might not give a shit about you, but dude, there's a fucking entire globe out there ready for the taking. and you have opportunities to take it. It might be hard at times, but you know what, man? It's when it's fun, it's fun. And when you're gone, you're going to miss out on a lot of badass things, like the next Avengers or whatever, or the next concert, or the next, or maybe you might even miss a chance of meeting the girl that you get to marry, or boy you get to marry, or whoever you fucking put your dick in, and just having those conversations can help people. Having conversations or portraying people with mental health that's not monsters or not like fallen angels, but just people, honest fucking people. I think it could have a big impact.
I agree with you. I wish that there was more honesty about this kind of thing, and that's kind of the reason too, like why I'm doing this whole thing, because I want raw, authentic people telling me like, this is the shit I deal with. This is how I cope. This is my story. I think we need more stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember when Chester died from Linkin Park. We're talking. what's a mental health topic without Linkin Park? Yay! I do miss Linkin Park though, like a lot.
Oh, likewise, dude.
And when Chester died, like when celebrities die, if I know a celebrity like Adam West or Carrie Fisher, like it sucks. It's sad because like holy shit. But Carrie Fisher died of a heart attack. Adam West died of old age. Stan Lee was like in his 90s. He was about to fucking drop dead at any point. The fact that he lived that long and was still had the strength to do cameos or just do fun shit with the fans says a lot about him. But when Chester died, that hit because it wasn't just Chester Bennington passed away because of this. It was Chester Bennington passed away due to suicide. And that hit like a brick. By the way, you would have hated me that month because I got really existential.
I think a lot of people did. He had a lot of influence on folks.
He did, man. That man was my fucking hero for the longest, dude. And to just see him die like that, and not only that, but people were saying that like he was in the biggest band ever. He had a lot of money and a family. Like, how the fuck could he do this? It's like, dude, sometimes when your mind goes to that place, you kind of forget about all that.
Yeah.
And I think after that, like, I started taking mental health a little more seriously because, like, if it can get to Chester, well, then it can get to anybody. And Chester was like, he wasn't my idol because I don't believe in idols, Like I hate whenever people say, "Oh, this person's my idol, that person's my idol," because when you idolize someone, you deify them. When you deify them, they're no longer human in your eyes,
Yeah.
But Chester, he was like my hero. He was someone that I looked up to, someone who made the world a better place with not place English, Daniel. Placed with his music, and not just his music, but the organizations that he was with. The Music for Relief. He would go out to places that suffered massive like earthquakes or just major crisis, and would help them out. And he helped people, specifically like teenagers who were deep in drugs, be rehabilitated. He did so many good things, and see him die like that, it really got to me. And to see people call him selfish or to bring up his family or the money or the band or the music or whatever the fuck, it's like, dude, that's not what determines happiness. In fact, when your brain goes to that place, it's tunnel vision from there on out.
Yeah.
It's like you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, you just see black.
Yeah,
and
you
your
can't
brain,
help it.
Yeah, your brain just goes like, well, no point in there's if there's just black, then what am I doing resisting it?
Yeah.
And like I said, just having more honest conversations about that and learning to kind of empathize with people who are going through that, you can save a life, more than a life, probably hundreds of lives, thousands of lives, millions of lives if we just sat down and just was like, let's just talk about this. Let's stop stigmatizing this. Let's just really dig into it, you know? And yeah, that's my stance on that.
Well, we're coming to the tail end of this, but what would you say to people, especially young people that are going through, similar situations such as you with mental health?
I'll tell you this. Your favorite band is going to release a new album at some point. Your favorite studio, your favorite hero is going to get a new movie, most likely, because superheroes. This cool video game is going to come out that no one wants to miss, that everyone's going to talk about. You want to build that Lego set, and you're going to want to read that book. Why would you want to miss out on that? You know? Who would want to miss out on that? The things that you love to do. Because eventually, we're all going to end up in the dirt, no matter what. Unless somehow some science is like, I can make you all immortal, But why would you want to miss out on those things in this finite time that we have? On, say, like, Batman Part 25, because God knows when movies are, or like, fucking Spider-Man 87, whatever, right? Just something that that you love, that is going to get like a sequel or whatever the fuck. Why would you want to miss out on that, man? Don't miss out on that. Enjoy it while you can. Love it while you can. Embrace it, and just know that we're all going through some shit. This is the most cliche thing I want to say today, but fuck it.
Hey, go for it.
We're all going through shit. We're all frustrated with shit. We all have had those days. But you know what, man? We all care if one more light goes out. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. Literally with the Linkin Park quote there. Let's fucking go.
I was actually like, yes, he did it. Oh, man.
That's my Oscar speech right there, boys.
It's a damn good one. Well, Danny, thank you so much for being on the podcast and for being vulnerable, sharing your story and your insight into mental health. I hope that this resonates with somebody out there listening. And again, I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, man, no problem. I appreciate you having me on here.
Yeah, no problem, dude. Anytime. Yeah, guys, so that was Danny. I'm going to have links to his social media and whatnot up if you'd like to talk with him. Also, too, guys, it would really help if you would consider supporting the podcast with a donation or anything like that, sharing the links. The more stories I can gather, the more people I can talk to and listen to, I think we can make the world a slightly better place the more we talk about mental health. So please consider supporting what I'm doing. And till next time, thank you for being here.